Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial, and today's editorial again is continuing from where we left the last editorial, where we were speaking about the unfortunate air crash of Air India flight A171. You see, क्या होता है कि normally when you have an air crash, it is important that you investigate as to the cause of the air crash. It's not just about putting a blame on somebody. It is also about ensuring that it doesn't occur again. So it's a very, very important exercise that a country, a company and the organization goes through. Now, unfortunately for us, the AAIB report, the preliminary AAIB report, which was released within 30 days of the crash, which is what the rule is, this report has created more questions than answers. They have given us piecemeal information, which, let alone people like me, laymen, even professionals, are not able to decipher. They are not able to answer. Secondly, the whole world seems to be knowing more about the report, more about what happened than we do. Because end of the day, the whole world seemed to have seen the report 2-3 days before Indian media or Indian professionals have seen the report. So this is what the AIB report was. Now, the question that is haunting all of us today is there is a section of people who believes that it was pilot error. There is a section of people who believe that no, you can't blame the pilot yet. How are you blaming the pilot? So the opinion is divided. Each of them have their own reason why they say what they say. Today, I had a conversation with the Airline Pilot Association India chapter's president, Captain Sam Thomas. Believe me, I had a very interesting conversation and a very enlightening one. A lot of things that were not clear to me with my limited knowledge and IQ was made clear in this conversation. So, very interesting conversation. And this may help us, ordinary people who I would like to represent, ordinary people may help us to kind of form some kind of an opinion. Because what he said, he has put it in a very simple and in a format which normal human beings could understand. So just hear this interview. I'm sure you'll like it, and I'm sure it'll give you more clarity. Let's get right into the show.
There are many incidences where uncommanded movement of certain switches happen. All Nippon Airlines, on landing, the airplane shut both the engines off. Pilots did nothing. The whole idea of air crash investigation is to find out why the human error happened. Unfortunately, here we are going as to who is that human who made that error. And historically, AIB has been reporting things like this, and unfortunately, we do not have a professional organization for air crash investigation. India, what has happened is, when the American comes, or when Boeing, big personalities come, they are overwhelming the investigator there who is an engineering officer from the Indian Air Force. And conclusive proof, in air crash investigation, there is nothing called it could have, it may have, or words like that. Timestamps, absolute to the second, to the microsecond. Not shortly thereafter, the aircraft took off, and then these kind of terms are never used.
Captain, thank you so much for joining me on this show. Captain, and I am so glad that I'm talking to you. Captain, let's get the elephant out of the room first. So my first question directly would be, do you believe, even an iota worth, that there was a human error in this accident?
Sir, firstly, in any air crash investigation, there's always an aspect of human error. There's always a quantum of sabotage involved. There is always a man-machine interface error involved. So we, in the absence of data, cannot, not just me, anybody cannot tell you how much percentage of human error was involved in this particular accident. Now, could have there been accidents that have had human error? Plenty of actions. And the whole idea of air crash investigation is to find out why the human error happened. Unfortunately, here we are going as to who is that human who made that error, and also very prematurely. So our association, that's the Airline Pilots Association of India, is objecting to those lines of investigations, because we had well in advance warned the media that there is going to be something like this. Eventually, always it comes down to pilot error, because that's the easiest thing to solve and close the case and get on with the life of the people who are supposed to receive the compensations as well. So this is not the first time that it's happening. It's just that despite the warning, our media got sucked into it. It's okay. Speculative part of it, there is speculation at every stage, and the media is entitled to speculation. We are objecting to the so-called pilot experts who came down and speculated. That caused a lot of anxiety among pilots and worldwide condemnation of Indian pilots.
Isn't AAIB causing more confusion than possibly anybody else put together? The kind of report, the preliminary report, I thought, as a layman who doesn't understand the difference between a throttle and an accelerator, somebody like me, even I thought this report was very half-baked. Would you agree to me?
Absolutely. Now that is where the out of line system happened. That is, there are quite a few people who are in the journalistic realm who are smart enough to understand that this is a foolish report. Now, they didn't count on that. And historically, AIB has been reporting things like this. And unfortunately, we do not have a professional organization for air crash investigation. And each time an air crash investigation happens, firstly, the journalists are stunned when I say we don't have an organization. They say, "Arey, there is AIB. Who is AIB run by? Are there any pilots there?" I am telling you that without a pilot and without a 787 pilot rated with experience, you cannot solve this problem. By saying that, so-and-so is a very good Bharatanatyam dancer, or so-and-so is a good flute player, we don't dispute that. But if you put him in charge of AIB, then the results you're going to get is exactly what you saw. And this was our objection, not because it is an erroneous report. The erroneous report insinuated the personal life of those pilots, and it went worldwide. That's our contention.
You are the leader of your industry, so you have a body like AIB that producing this kind of report. Why aren't you your body, people like you all who are voice to your body? Why don't you all talk about it? Why don't you all do something about an organization like AAIB?
So we tried our best. Now our best defense is now big media houses and independent journalists. They have a voice and they are carrying our voice forward. And we are substantiating our claims with the documentary data that we are giving from our side. We are telling you that there is no pilot in AIB. Then how will this problem be solved? And if give me 30 seconds and I'll explain to you if I were to be the head of this investigation. So I would invite the NTSB, the Boeing, and the UK authorities. Everybody sit down, put a piece of paper in front of them and say, this is non-disclosure agreement. Anything that happens over here will go out through me. Then I will call the media, all and sundry from the media, make them sit down and say, hey, listen, we are starting this investigation. So-and-so are part of this investigation. These are their credentials. Please wait for me. Every Friday, I will come and give you an update on what we have gone through. And anybody who breaks this non-disclosure clause will never ever be allowed to come into another investigation. It happens in other countries. India, what has happened is when the American comes or when Boeing, big personalities come, they are overwhelming the investigator there who is an engineering officer from the Indian Air Force. He doesn't know what to do. they have pushed him to go in a particular line. And to the credit of this officer, he has tried to protect the data and everything else to the best of his ability. Unfortunately, the best of his ability was not good enough. These guys have gone and leaked it to somebody in Seattle. 2 days prior to this report coming out, as all of you are well aware, this was published. And then why did you keep our journalists out? We are saying, for a change, bring all the journalists also inside, make it a transparent investigation. Therefore, nobody can speculate. If it's a pilot error, yes, we have to accept it as a pilot error. If it's a sabotage, we accept that, but provide proof and conclusive proof. In air crash investigation, there is nothing called it could have, it may have, or words like that. Timestamps, absolute to the second, to the microsecond, not shortly thereafter the aircraft took off and then these kind of terms are never used. So that's what we need to focus on more and push our media to say that despite the information that you're getting, this is our clarification to each of these informations, and certain experts can get misguided because this is a very tech heavy airplane. So I'm rated on it, and I can tell you that it is not just another airplane. It's a lot of very heavy tech electrically.
CVR, why was this entire conversation edited? Does it happen that way normally?
No. Firstly, it is a cockpit voice recorder. Right? And it's independent of the cabin. So when this what was the first attempt? It's all damaged. Nothing can be done. Now we have to take it to America. So we made a huge hue and cry and said, you just inaugurated a new DFDR decoding facility in Delhi for 9 crores. The Honorable Minister himself inaugurated it. You all forgot about that. Then said, yeah. Then let us get it decoded here. So then they decoded that. When you decode this, first of all, I have to tell you, as an independent journalist and with a lot of contacts, sometimes people may invite you to, or your viewers, to listen to the cockpit voice recorder. This is in the realms of speculation. Please be prepared, because it is not for the faint-hearted. I have listened to cockpit voice recorders involving in crash. Otherwise, it's a very funny thing. Somebody is singing, somebody is talking ill of somebody. All that is good. But when it involves a crash, it's a very horrifying sound that comes. It's not something that you see in movies or somebody screaming in a horror movie. No, it's worse than that. Now, there's a speech to text transfer. The software converts that speech to text. Therefore, it removes the tonality. You don't know whether two people are on a date and saying, why did you cut off the fuel? The other guy is looking at the gun and saying, no, I didn't do it. It doesn't happen like this. For want of a better word, I think a lot of Punjabi comes into it the moment you see something like this. And what we are trying to say is, by putting that one line, you left it to interpretation that one guy switched it off. The other guy asked, why did you switch it off? And the whole thing went down from there. So either you put the full transcript forward or don't put anything forward. Otherwise, this is exactly what you have, given rise to. Complete Western media has got the Steve's. Steve is an astronaut. He is coming up with theories by the minute. So he can bring up, and we were told by our parent organization not to contradict him, because that's what he exactly wants. He will say that, okay, come on, President ALPA India, come and contradict me. Then he has another 30,000. We are from the old school. We don't live by social media validation. We don't know how this metric works. So we are guided by our media trainers and our parent organization. So we try and keep it as civil as we can. But I share the sentiment of some of our younger cadre who want to set fire to everything because of this sentiment that you have spread about in the pilot community or in India in general.
Captain, you know what? This concept of not replying, this kind of also sets up a lot of opportunity or leeway or latitude to form own opinions. You see, Wall Street Journal in their report said that the black box recording of the dialogue between the flight two pilots indicates it was the captain who turned off the switch that controlled fuel flowing to the plane's two engine, according to the people familiar with US officials' earlier assessment of evidence uncovered in the crash investigation. Now, you see, these reports are directly pointing at human error, especially the error of the captain. Now, AAIB, while they're issuing notes and all that, saying that please don't get into guesstimations and estimations and aspersions and all of that, but they don't seem to be directly answering the question. Arey bhai, if you are so sure, say that ये सब गलत है, because end of the day we didn't hear the cockpit voice recorder, but they have, na. So couldn't they be now saying that, listen, you know what, dude, guys, this is all wrong? Why is that not happening, Captain?
The NTSB has said it. They have realized that they have probably got into a wrong kind of, because they didn't expect this explosion like this. So they have gone around and said today that, hey, these are all speculation. We don't know what is happening. So wait for the complete report, and we are with the AAIB when they come out with the final report. Now, as far as your question regarding can't AAIB come and talk and solve, what do they know for them to talk and solve? You need to know exactly what is happening. So that it is a deliberate act, I believe that it should be a deliberate act. Because when you lose your engine on takeoff, both engines on takeoff, the captain better be good enough to shut off the engine and start it again. That is the checklist of Boeing. Loss of thrust on both engines has a checklist, which has a memory item. I'm just trying to solve it. I mean, as simple as possible. So it has a memory item. Memory items are things that are done without reference to any document. So the checklist says, in the case of loss of thrust of both engines, fuel cutoff switches to cut off and back to run. Press and hold the rat for 1 second. This is the checklist. This is the Boeing checklist. This is the Air India checklist. This used to be the Jet Airways checklist as well. So this is what they have done. If it's a deliberate act. So I don't see a reason why this is being misconstrued as something. I know that the narrative is set. Now, no matter how much I'm going to give you proof, you're not going to believe me. In the end, they are going to come out with something of pilot error, because in the past, you remember, there used to be 737s that used to go into a spin. Probably those are a little older. Let's come to the 737 MAX, which may be fresh in your memory. The Indonesian Lion Air crash happened. Immediately, they came and said, well, pilot error. Then they found out that, Indian pilot, are to 100% error. That Ethiopian crash happened thereafter, and luckily, the Ethiopians were smart. They didn't leave that black box anywhere. They said, we will do the investigation here. We will take outside agencies, but we want to get to the bottom of it. What came out? That there is a system called the MCAS in the 737 MAX, which on its whim and fancy will crash the airplane, and no pilot existing will have recourse to any kind of relief from that. So the congressional hearing that is all over the social media and on the public realm has severely castigated Boeing. They had no defense. They were fined heavily. But you see, then comes the corporate sort of, what can I say, more, cost versus safety, cost benefit analysis that comes in and says, hey, listen, we will do everything to try and mitigate this. And it goes on. So in this memory, you see how the narrative was set to nail the pilot. This is not limited to India alone. If you've seen the movie Sully, you will know that thank God he was alive. That is why he could defend himself with the help of the Union. Otherwise, they were nailing him anyways. That movie is accurate to the T as far as investigations are concerned. See how it plays. If in the unlikely event of you not having seen it, please see it. You will get a complete idea of what I'm speaking about.
If there is a engine thruster failure, would that be construed as a mechanical failure?
No, you're talking of the TCMA, that is on the see uncommanded movements of lot of equipment can happen in the airplane. There are records of lot of uncommanded movements happening. Now, what we are, I'm sorry if I'm going a little technical, just bear with me. Uh, there is a clear cut demarcation between the fuel control switches and the fuel shut-off valve. The FADEC, or the full authority digital engine control, has authority over those shut-off valves. That is why when you use the term transition, a valve transitions from A to B through A1, A2, A3, and B. A switch, on the other hand, is binary, on and off. Now, what are you recording? Are you recording the position of the valves, or are you recording the switches? Both can be recorded, but you should be intelligent enough to understand which one are we talking about, and while putting that in the report. Therefore, there are many incidences where uncommanded movement of certain switches happen. All Nippon Airlines, on landing, the airplane shut both the engines off. Pilots did nothing. The fuel control switches were in the run position. Still, both the engines came to a shut-off position. Why? Because the FADEC closed the shut-off valves. Now, what is to say that that didn't happen in this particular case?
Do you suspect a mechanical failure?
I would be very hesitant to say any kind of failure or any human intervention without, suppose I write Mr. Sujit Nair, India, and post a letter from some corner of the world. You may get the letter because you're a little bit more famous, but unless I write your full address and lane number, this one, Mumbai, so and so, I will not get to your under normal circumstances. So this is exactly what we have been asked to do. As in, no data given to us. Some fictitious data has come from somewhere. Now that in South India we have something called Kili Jyotisham. That is, you ask the parrot, "Bol bhai, kaun sa engine fail hua?" That I will be reduced to that if I were to answer that question. But yes, we can look around those things. We'd like to look more towards electrical failure.
So isn't this that parrot? This entire report, this preliminary report, isn't this like that parrot that one is tending to ask as to bhai kya hua, and this parrot is taking us all over the place?
Sir, parrots would be insulted. They would file a case against me if I equate them to that report. So I hope the parrots leave me alone. You're right. That's very close to what we are saying.
If that is the case, then I want to ask you a question. There's a lot of talk about two sect of people. It is very now. It is the entire media, entire world is bifurcated into two. One says it is a human error. Other says it is a Boeing error. Sir, this Boeing error and human error issue. What is this report trying? Who is this report trying to save? Obviously, this report is trying to save somebody. Who is this report trying to save, and why do you think it is trying to save?
Yeah, absolutely. What I'm saying, they've taken the easy way out. It's not saving anybody. The easy way out is you put the narrative in such a way that the pilot is blamed, because there is another process after this. If it's not pilot error, then you have to go to the actual error. That could take about 2-3 years. And the insurances are paid out only after, and damages and all those are paid out only after the final report. Why this goes towards the pilot error side is some guy will come and tell you, anyway, the pilot is gone. Must take this much money. And then there would be representation to the families. They will go and tell them, don't push all these things. These are part of corporate lobbying. It happens in India. It happens everywhere else. This is a standard narrative. We were only saying, why did you add that murder, suicide and all that? I know at the end of the day, you will come to this conclusion, and you have already spread the word. Now there is a set of people saying that Sumit was mentally disturbed. It's like somebody you know personally, and I comment, I've never even seen that guy. But if I comment on him saying that, nahi boss, uske chaal se hi pata lagta tha, the guy is not, सीधा नहीं था, कुछ यही होने वाला. So these kind of things in India are very common. If you just go and talk to your neighbors or any this one and say, yeah, Sam Thomas, ठीक है? I'm sure there will be 2-3 guys who will say that boss school से ही वो पागल था. So that cannot be, taken as, gospel truth, and then you come out with slander. So, uh, these are the things that are derailing the investigation. You must understand that. Now we are focused. What am I doing? I'm trying to defend my pilot. What else? I'm trying to negate some media. That is not what we are supposed to do. We single focus, get to the truth. If the pilot is wrong, the pilot is wrong. If the machine is wrong, the machine is wrong. Let's get to that so that none of our traveling public ever face the same situation.
Western media, especially Reuters, Wall Street Journal, etc., they are kind of speculating a specific narrative and possibly trying to kind of defend Boeing. Is there a specific reason why you believe that?
No, it's just experience. That's all. I've been here for 30 years. Never have they, unless they're beaten to it or something. And let's not forget, uh, President Trump has very clearly said that the media may not be actually reporting the truth on any of the matters. So I've seen many television programs very clearly says that, hey, fake news, fake news. And don't we for some reason in India are enamored by these Wall Street Journal. It should be on a wall somewhere, that's all, or on the street. I don't think you should give so much credence, but they have First Amendment rights. They can say what they want. They are entitled to their opinion. Write all this. I am only worried because my pilot is being thrown under the bus. That is why I'm coming out to defend him. And I know what has happened. I mean, I'm saying make it transparent so that even he knows what has happened. Boeing can save itself. Yeah, everybody else can save that. That's not a problem. But don't throw a guy under the bus for no rhyme or reason. And now I can't undo that. I just can't undo it. Now you've already said it. Now, no matter what happened, I had the good fortune to play golf with one of famous cricketers, and he told me that because he was just exonerated from one of these allegations, and he said that no matter what you do now, I will always be called by certain section of the society as a match fixer. Nothing can be done. I have not taken 1 rupee, but I will. So that's exactly what is happening here.
Captain Sabraal, how do you know him as a person? How was he? Give us a background about Captain Sabraal.
See, he is from the 7th batch IGRUA, and see, we had this rivalry for about 20 years. We were Jet Airways. We thought we were God's own creation. They were Air India. They also thought they were God. So, but we used to follow one behind the other into London. And when we get there, we are that some of us have, that air around us, whether for reasons justified or not. We are a little flamboyant, but Sumit was not like that. Sumit was, do you remember in your class at first bench ke students? Arey yaar, I've got only 97, 3 mark chale gaye. Here we are sitting with 45 and saying, bhai, let's, party. So Sumit belonged to that, and he was very, very, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. Therefore, we used to keep, kya yaar, London tak aaye hain, kal subah wapas bhi jana hai. If you don't drink, then what is the thing? But he was not. Where other Air India pilots were there with us, Jet Airways pilots were there. We would all Hyde Park mein jayenge, this, that. But he would rather study the book, or the FCTM dekh ke cover to cover he would study. Unfortunately, in India, see, sometimes we may not be blessed with good marriages. This between two human beings, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Now, he is not the kind of guy who would go all out to fight. He's not the fighter type. He would just go into the background, go into his shell. And he lost his mother during COVID. And that also is, nothing was happening that was you could sort of celebrate. But that does not mean that he was a lunatic, or the way the media has presented him, or certain sections of the media have presented him. Now, his job was, like all pilots we say, after every transatlantic fight, we'll come and say, yaar, हो गया बस, मैं रिटायर कर रहा हूँ, मैं खेती करूंगा, मैं chicken, organic chicken बनाऊंगा. This is after every next flight, again you wear the uniform and come and do this. So, to use these statements, and then, yes, All of us pilots have some deficiency or the other. When we undergo some medical checkups by this Indian Air Force doctors, which makes us feel that we are just going to space. Actually, you are flying a comfortable, wide body aircraft. So sometimes you will get some deficiency. Boss, तेरा thyroid में कोई problem तो क्या हुआ? Similarly, he had a vitamin B12 deficiency. I don't even know whether I have it or not. It has never come for me, but I don't even know what that is. A vitamin B12 deficiency. हाँ ठीक है गोली दे देंगे. Company doctor will give you. खाते हुए तो निकल जाना. So now all these are put together and saying that ये तो totally gone case था. And some one odd guy in Air India has come and said, "Arey, yaar, he is not." Just because you don't socially fit in that, what can I say, the group of pilots who just get down, uniform nikala, Gucci, Armani, sabhi dal ke, now let's go for next party. You don't comply to that social strata. That does not mean that you are a lunatic or the way it is being presented. I know there is nothing wrong with him, and what he is now a trainer on with 15,000 hours. So Air India didn't know that he was a mad fellow, and he promoted him to trainer also. How did all that happen? So what people are talking are utter rubbish, and we can't do anything to undo it. So that's why we said let's talk to some of the top journalists and then say, boss, this is the truth. But this will never come out. It will be end of the day, pilot did the mistake, but we are objecting to the way it is being portrayed that he was a murderer and things like that. That simply doesn't happen.
Captain, let me ask you a very layman's question. Is flying a very stressful job, and does your human emotions, does it affect flying very drastically? Are we? Is it that serious a profession where something goes on a little as far as your personal life is concerned? It is reflecting in your professional career. Does that happen?
There is nothing called personal life, sir. The issue is behind this glamour of uniform and breakfast in Mumbai, lunch is in London, tomorrow's breakfast is in Toronto, and then all that. There is no personal life. And on a different note, it's very, very stressful to fly in India because the authorities are out to get you at the drop of a hat. Now, the 3 F's that we are scared of are fines, fear, and fatigue. We cannot report fatigue. The moment we report fatigue, we are taken off. There are documented cases of this game. I have analyzed and put through the software and figured out that it's not fatigue. You are on sick leave. So, who has analyzed? Somebody sitting in, some clerk sitting and through a software. That's one part of it. As far as the social angle of it is concerned, I have missed most of the PTAs, my children's graduation and all that. Kidhar gaya? Nahi, wo he is in Toronto. When you're 22 years old, it sort of appeals. At 55, that's why most of us said that nahi chahiye. Toronto, aap wahin pe raho. We will fly some private jet here and there and be happy. And the domestic, see, in India, domestic flying is very difficult, not equal to I have flown in the US, I have flown in Europe, I am flying here. There's a simple thing like monsoon. You mean to say it is easy to go through when the pilot lands there, the next thing he knows is a suspension. Why? Because some passenger has gone to some portal and complained that it is turbulent. Let me put not really in the in jest, but let me tell you, some of the pilots we were meeting, we said, yaar, abhi in your flight bag mein rubber band hai kya? Rubber band. They said, kyun rubber band? Because allegedly some drunk passenger urinated on a lady. Nobody has seen it. There was an inquiry. Pilot is suspended. So we are saying we will move on with rubber bands so that we can prevent urination. It has come to that. So these are the things that make it extremely stressful. and nobody is looking into it. Luckily, the director general, we met the director general, and he was shocked at what is happening over here. So he has said, boss, talk to me. I will try and sort out as much as I can. But nothing can, in India, you have this bureaucracy which says power of status quo. Let everything remain as it is till it falls down. Then we will set up a committee to figure out why it fell down. Then we'll go on a holiday to some exotic country to write that report down. So in air crash, these things are very expensive. Human life, extremely expensive. So you have brought out a very, very pertinent question. Nobody even asked this question. So I'm glad you asked that question, and this is the answer. And also, you note that any pilot who talks to the media is immediately terminated. So was I, but things sorted out itself because our union was a little more active. So right now, that fear is not there for me, but you would get much more intelligent pilots, much more comprehensive reports if you ask the serving pilots to come and talk to you from probably Indigo or SpiceJet. They will be able to tell you much better as to what is happening. Now the messages are coming through us. So to your question, is there a social life? Unfortunately, no. At some time when you come back, you will know that both your children are married and gone. You were not even there. You may join online from, Amsterdam and bless
Captain,
the couple.
I want to ask you a question which is slightly unrelated. Companies like Google or Facebook or, these kind of companies, they take extra care to kind of ensure that their employees have got work-life balance. Why doesn't airline take care of y'all? Why? I'm not talking about a specific airline. I'm asking airline in general. Why are the crew not taken care of? And why are you not talking about it? Why are you not fighting for it?
I tried fighting. I'm continuing to fight. I will tell you what. Firstly, human resources. Human resources is a field that most unqualified people are in. Just objectively look at it. Just step back, look at a corporate. Let's talk about the Tatas themselves. Specific airline, Tata. Step back and see who are these people in human resources. Are they subject matter experts? No. Do they know, not just in Tata's, in any company, they don't know what business you are doing. They will come out with rules for you. And unfortunately, I forget the professor's name. He started in IIM Bangalore. He started a course which was specific to these people, that when you're handling pilots, they are not the same. So human resources must not look at them as a commodity. So what here we are facing is, yesterday somebody who was vice president HR of an aerial selling company or a washing powder selling Nirma company suddenly comes up as a vice president HR of a pilot company. Then they put it into a software and then say, "Arey, this a huge joke happened in Jet Airways where they hired an IIT professional from IIT Mumbai, and he came out with a software and said, your 75% of your pilots are exes. They should be terminated. We were also wondering, yaar, 7.5 is 75. Said, no, 75% are exes. So then we said, can we just sit through this thing? Because this is something, boss is going to kill us if we have ended up with 75% exes. When we sat through that, unfortunately, nobody told him that there is something called flight duty time limitations. His software can take care of that. So this is exactly how it happens. And like I spoke of the fear factor. Today you are suspended. Today, and very rogue elements, renegade elements are there in this rostering and human resources department. They have an interface where they fix people. So we keep telling that it's in our Indian blood, When we take the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, there were only 3, as far as my knowledge goes, there were only 3 British officers, including Brigadier General Dyer. The rest of the firing squad was all Indian only. So You put one Indian there and he will make sure that this entire thing is fighting against each other, but the costs are prohibitive as far as pilots are concerned. So you need specialized human resources department to take care of this so-called commodity called pilots, if you want to treat them as that. And far away from Google. We don't want Google. They are all great companies. We want at least treat us as a human being. Treat us as a human being. You can travel in a plane having a cold. If I have a cold and fly a plane, my eardrum ruptures. My medical is gone. Therefore, I will not I will try to report sick. Then you will mark me as one of those chronic sick reporters so that you put pressure on me. So these are things that are happening in the Indian aviation industry. Nobody wants to talk. I am very surprised as to how you ask these questions. There are great, great people who have sort of put it under the carpet, which is our specialty anyway. So we are trying to fight it, but we have reached nowhere.
My last question, Captain. My last question to you, as a professional and as a veteran captain, do you enjoy flying a Boeing?
Very much, very much. I am one of that crowd who said, if it ain't Boeing, we ain't going, because I'm trained in the US and my hands are all. We used to tell the Airbus pilots that tu computer uda raha hai, FS 2000, asli pilot. Finally, we found that both these companies are sort of on the verge of merger now. The technology is exactly the same. Now the Airbus pilots started showing off, तेरे प्लेन में ट्रे है क्या, हम लोग डिनर ऐसे खाते हैं, तो इसके बीच में लगा के. So it has come to that. But as far as Boeing aircraft are concerned, I am trained only on the Boeings and the Gulfstreams. So I do not have command over the Airbus, which, given a chance now, today, if you ask me, I will go sit in the Airbus 350, the beautiful airplane. And I've had the chance to fly the simulators, but nothing from fear factor. If you are looking at it, I don't think you should be worried. These things happen. And whenever there is a paradigm shift in technology, these kind of things happen when tech heavy aircraft come in. Because without making it extremely long, I'd like to tell you that there is a movement to modernize the airplane to a point where you don't need a pilot. Maybe that will come. I'm sure that day will come. But what we are telling you is very far away. Very simple reasons, like the aircraft starts thinking more and more, thereby taking away my control. Now, please understand, I'm making an approach to Guwahati airport. As I come there, I see my co-pilot tells me, sir, सुबह के नोटा में एक लिखा था, beware of Nilgai crossing. Now that happens in Guwahati. If I see a Nilgai, I will go around and I will come back for a. So that's a very dicey. It has happened to me on a 737. Now the Airbus or more and more modern airplane will start questioning you. I don't recognize any Nilgai crossing. Nobody is supposed to cross the runway. Leave alone Nilgai. I don't understand what Nilgai is also. A French or a African designer is making a software. He doesn't know that Haina crosses in Chhattisgarh, Raipur, and Nilgai crosses in. So it happens. So if it's a Boeing, or rather if it's a conventional airplane, I will just go around, bring it back and land, and tell the passenger, sorry, galti ho gayi, maaf kar dena, don't go write something, mere ko marenge. But when it comes to the most modern aircraft, it will start calculating. You are in landing configuration. I do not see anything out of the ordinary, and I don't think I'll give you thrust. It happened first to an Indian. When they said again in the first A320 crash, it had happened. They said again, Indians don't know how to fly. 2 weeks later, it happened to one of their own pilots. He was supposed to do a fly past. It did a fly past and then said, sorry, I will not give you any more thrust. Went straight into the forest. He survived. He fought for about 12 years before he was exonerated. So as far as your question regarding Boeing is concerned, given the chance today, I'll fly the Airbus 350. That's my choice airplane. And now I'm flying a Gulfstream, which I'm happy with. No problem. listens to
Thank
me.
you so much. In fact, Captain, it was indeed a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Most welcome, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.